Welcome to this edition of Getting Gear with Samir, and welcome to summer. Summer's a great time to get outdoors when it's not raining and spend time with your family, just recharging and refreshing in general. Summer is also the time when we welcome all our summer interns. This year we have 17 interns. Jillian sent out an email a couple of weeks ago introducing all the interns to the company, and as usual we'll have intern presentations towards the end of the summer, and you'll see more communication on that as we get closer. I encourage all of you to come out to their presentations and in general interact and share all your wisdom and lessons learned with these interns that are gracing our hallways. On a more personal note, as I mentioned in the last newsletter, I just got back from a trip to Japan with my family. We were actually celebrating my son's high school graduation, and he wanted to go to Japan, so we spent about 2 weeks there as the four of us, my wife and my daughter and my son, and we actually took my mom with us as well, so all five of us. Very unique trip. We started out in Tokyo, city of 37 million, doing the big city life. We went to Hakone, which is where Mount Fuji is, so kind of the nature and mountain setting, and then we went to Kyoto, which is kind of old school, traditional Japan, where all the samurai warriors and Shogun, for people who watch that show, was shot in Kyoto. Great trip, great way to spend time with the family, learn a new culture, try something new, and I also learned some new skills. I actually took a sushi making class, so I know how to make sushi now, and I took a samurai sword class, and I learned to cut bamboo with a sword, so I have a new skill there. And then transitioning to our interview this month, it's a very special month in my opinion. I'm actually going to sit down with Sami Habchi, who's our Executive Vice President of Aerospace and Defense. I think most of you know Sami's been with the company for over 38 years. He announced towards the end of last year that he'd be retiring on June 30th, or the middle of this year. So this was the month that we were going to do the Getting Gear video with someone from Aerospace and Defense, and I thought it was a perfect opportunity for everyone to get to know Sami and hear a little bit more about his career. So it's going to be a very special episode, probably a little bit longer than some of the normal ones, but I think it's a great way to learn about Sami and all he's brought to CFD Research. Now let's dive into the interview with Sami Habchi. Welcome to this edition of Getting Gear with Samir. Today we have a very special treat. We're supposed to be interviewing somebody from our Aerospace and Defense Solutions division. Well, as most of you know, Sami Habchi is our Executive Vice President in that division, and he announced his plans to retire in June of 2025. So this month we're going to be spending a little bit of time getting to know Sami more, and more than that, reflecting back on his 38-year career with CFD Research. Sami, thanks for joining us for this edition of Getting Gear with Samir.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, Samir. It's funny, we never done that. I know we've been working together for a long time. We never done one of those. I actually don't have a lot of experience doing these
videos.
Yeah, so it's my pleasure.
Yeah,
pleasure to be here.
So what are some of your fondest memories over your 38-year career here at CFD Research?
Well, 38 years, it's a lifetime.
Yeah.
There's been so many great memories. Again, I've been with the company from the beginning. I worked with your mom and dad for the previous company before CFD Research, which is called Channel of North America. And we started with the company in 1987.
Right.
So there's a lot of great memories, but most of really the fondest memory for me are from the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, one of those memories is the original or the early Christmas parties.
Okay.
They were very unique, and we loved those parties. They were, it was small. We had sit-down dinners, and there was a lot of passion, a lot of good conversations. But what made those really special, at least for me and my wife, and I'm sure for others as well, that your mom, Sangeeta, would make a goodie basket for each one of the employees, for each one of the families.
Okay.
That goodie basket will have cookies in it, will have nuts, will have caramelized popcorn, and fudge. So many other things, very nicely made, and for each employee, sometimes 50 of them.
Mm-hmm.
We go home and talk to Nawal, how did she do that? It really, left an impression on us.
Yeah.
And no doubt left an impression on a lot of employees. That created that early family atmosphere of the company and the closeness of the company. Now, she cares that much to spend so much time doing it.
I never knew that. I guess I was around when she was making them, but I never knew she did that. So,
yeah, that definitely, I remember that.
Yeah.
Another memory is I don't know, you know about AIAA Cytec.
Yeah.
That used to be called AIAA Aerosciences Meeting and Exhibit. They used to have it in Rio every year, early January.
Yep.
And we would prepare for that meeting for about a month or two.
Okay.
We were so focused on the software at that point. We would prepare brochures, the booth, presentations, videos. There was so much work and so much passion about it.
Right.
At least 10 or 15 people would go attend that meeting.
Yeah.
We would work hard all day, do marketing and software sales and attending papers. And in the evening, it was a casino. We would hit the slots machines, and actually a few of us would sit on a blackjack table, having a drink and playing blackjack late into the night. There was so much energy and so much passion. Right. I do remember those. Exactly. I went for about 10, 15 of them straight. Yeah. Your mom, dad was gone to some of them. Andre used to go on a regular basis, and several others as well. Yep.
I think I went one time just on vacation, just to let you guys. But no, it really is like the small things, like the goodie baskets at Christmas, and then all the time outside of work, like the social time and getting to know each other. But
if you allow me one more, which is really unique to me, is in 2008, your dad called me to his office and he said, I'm going to reorganize the company. Yep. I'm going to create two divisions, the Aerospace and Defense division and Biomedical and Emerging Technology division. And I'm going to consolidate 5 groups into the Aerospace division, and I'm going to put you in charge of it. The reason that I mentioned that, it just, it really changed my career. The confidence that he showed in me. Right. And my career changed at that point. Yeah. What I was doing in the aeromechanics branch, I was involved in everything. Right. Yes, it was different. It was a challenge. Yeah. But I do remember that very vividly.
Yeah, I remember that too. That was my first month with the company.
Yeah. I remember some of the conversation that we had on the coffee table. Yeah. Coffee machine and stuff.
What is your favorite technical project or accomplishment? I know that's going to be hard because you've got 30 years and hundreds and maybe thousands of projects to have to think about. But what's one or two that really stand out to you?
Yeah, I mean, there have been so many. Again, it goes back to the beginning, because in the beginning I was really very heavily involved in everything.
Doing real technical work, right?
Yeah, this one is kind of easy for me because a lot of people that knew me for a long time, they probably know. Some of the unique projects and the dearest to me is the crew escape system injection seat work in the late 90s, late 80s, early 90s. Is the proposal that we have written, the contracts that we have won, the kind of work that we've done. So we were looking at crew escape system injection seat characteristics. We didn't have the software at that point. So we put all these capabilities in CFD FastRAN, like move and body capabilities, 6 degrees of freedom, prescribed motion, finite rate chemistry, to look at rocket plume effects on ejection seat. A lot of great work that went into the CFD FastRAN that ultimately made CFD FastRAN a commercial solver. Also, the grids that we put on ejection seat at that point were the most complex done by the industry. You got a human, a female pilot or a male pilot sitting in an ejection seat. I remember we did 2D simulation, just the seat. And then we put an occupant grid in 2D. And the first 2D grid that we did, we just stitched a bunch of 2D planes together to make a 3D grid. And then, we purchased CAD tools. That we started doing 3D grids. So it was very challenging work, very rewarding work. Yeah. We won a lot of contracts, and then we developed a relationship with ejection seat makers. So it really, it paved the way for the aeromechanics branch, the creation of the aerodynamics in the aeromechanics branch. We hired a lot of great people, like Stacy Robb, Jim Keenan, people who have led very meaningful careers. Les Hall is the president of a company now, Rohit Jain, and many others. So it was really the foundation of the aeromechanics branch that survived for till now.
I think what a lot of people don't realize is, like, back in the 80s when you were starting these projects, late 80s, like CFD was like brand new. The computational fluid dynamics barely existed, and this idea of making these grids. I think sometimes
grids were very simple, were very small. As you can imagine, when a human is sitting in a seat, like an ejection seat, was very complex at that time.
Yeah.
Everybody in the aeromechanics branch broke their teeth on the ejection seat. It would actually take a month or two to put a grid together.
I was going to ask you how long it took to put it together, how long did it take to run? Because the computers were a lot slower back then.
Yeah, you can imagine that CAD file that we would get from the Navy or a Martin paper, that would take like a week or two to clean up.
Yeah.
And maybe a few other weeks to put a grid on it. So it was a great opportunity to create some new technologies that led to a lot of good work. So I'm very proud of that.
Yeah. So as we talked about, you've been in CFD Research since the very beginning, since 1987, 38 years. What in your mind really makes this place special?
You hear that question a lot, so I'm going to be really very brief.
Mm-hmm.
The way I look at it is working here is like, I don't know if it makes sense, it's like a sense of belonging, a sense of team,
Right.
a sense of family, a sense of accomplishment, and a sense of rewards as well. In this company, we do very complex work. Nothing we do here is easy. We work on creating new and innovative technology. We work on very difficult projects. Every single employee has a role.
Right.
And you cannot coast working here. You have to have passion. You have to give it everything that you got, which really makes your work meaningful.
Right.
And CFD has a reputation for technical excellence. When you're working for CFD, you're being recognized. You are recognized as someone smart who's doing good work.
Yeah.
And when you leave this company, you're gonna find a good job. A lot of people who left CFD Research through the years are now leading groups, leading companies. The people that I hired, for example, some of them are president of companies. You combine all of that with the sense of family that we had. I just talked about your mom and the gift basket.
Right.
That was in the early beginning, even though we were small, but I think we managed through the years to keep that sense of family.
Yeah.
And you've done a great job in the last few years about recognizing great work and giving rewards for those that excel. So putting all of that together, I think that would make CFD Research a unique place to work.
What advice do you have for someone starting out their career at CFD Research today?
That's an interesting question. You hear that a lot, and there are a lot of cliches, but I tell you the way I look at it. I know I have hired and managed a lot of people through the years, and what I think is important, especially as a new employee, understand your role.
Right.
Understand your role from the beginning and own your role. What I mean by own your role, make sure you understand the project that you're working on, the impact that project has, and take leadership on it as much as you can. And work with your supervisor, especially in the beginning. We have, in this company, we select supervisors who we have a lot of trust in. So work with them, listen to them, especially in the beginning. And another advice that I have, stay away, be positive in your attitude.
Yeah.
Stay away from negativity and don't get dragged into it.
Mm-hmm.
Being positive and being influenced by positive people makes life easier.
Yeah.
Makes life much more fun.
Yep.
If you find yourself dragged into negativity and you cannot get out of it, maybe this place is not good for you.
Yeah.
Do something else.
Yeah.
Because life is supposed to be fun and positive.
Yeah. You talked earlier about that shared sense of belonging and that sense of common purpose. Yeah, I think surrounding yourselves with positive people.
Positive people that definitely help you get better. Mm-hmm. Also keep learning and keep growing. And what I would say, you probably heard me say that in the past, expand your domain of influence.
Right.
You can do that by developing relationship with the customers, developing relationship with leadership, understand programs and where the money comes from, where the project comes from, what the impact of your work is on the mission of the programs, and who are the influencers that affect your programs. If you do all of those, the upward mobility is easy, because every manager, every leader is looking for a star.
Yeah.
And if you do those, you will be a star.
Yeah. What are some of the core leadership values or principles that have kind of shaped the way you've led teams over the years?
I've been in leadership for over 35 years. Right after the first 3-4 years, started leading a team for Aero. And I've always, used my core values and beliefs really as some of my leadership work. Still till today. They have been changed through the years. I would say integrity, passion,
Yep.
authenticity, resiliency.
Right.
Resiliency, stay with it. If you lose something or you have a failure, you use that to do something better. If you lose a star employee, you take that as an opportunity to hire someone hopefully better.
Yeah.
So that kind of resiliency that I think helped through the years. Empowerment, especially the last few years. I've worked with a lot of people. Proud to say I have managed a lot of people that have grown, that have taken leadership positions, and they are doing very well. And trust is the center of everything. I think we all talk about that. Not trust just with your employees, just with your customers.
Right.
And to me, it's a very important element. The people that I have worked through the years, be it with NASA, with the Navy, and many, many others, I have developed a relationship based on trust that have served me for a long time.
Right.
And this is my core belief, and some of my core values, which has really helped me through the years. And they have been kind of grown and ingrained with the company,
Right.
values and beliefs.
I was going to say, yeah, it's probably not surprising that most of the values you listed are actually some of our core values as a company, but I think
Yes.
through the years a lot you've helped instill
Yeah, absolutely.
some of your own personal values.
Yeah, and they have, my core values and beliefs, they have been ingrained, they have grown, they have been shaped by the company as well.
So we just talked about kind of your core values and leadership style. How has kind of your leadership style evolved over your 38-year career?
From the beginning, my leadership style and my leadership values were really based on my core beliefs and core values of integrity, trust, hard work, and passion. For the first 15 years of my career, I never took a leadership management class, as you probably know that.
Just learned.
I actually never read a leadership book.
Okay.
I worked with about 5 to 15 people in the aeromechanics branch. I had a close relationship with everyone. I kind of managed by example. I was involved in every project that we did, be it the software CFD fastening or the crew escape systems or doing aerodynamic analysis on a missile or an aircraft or launch vehicle. I was part of every project, so I was leading by example. Again, hard work, passion. I had developed a relationship with everyone on the team,
Right.
and I thought to do that. I mean, we used to go play golf with team members every week.
Yeah.
So I had a close relationship with everyone. It was easy.
Yeah.
It really was easy the first 10, 15 years, managed by example.
Yep.
Now in 2008, when I took over the ADS, Aerospace and Defense Division, my group grew by tripled or quadrupled.
Right.
With the combustion, propulsion, microelectronics,
A lot of areas you want us familiar with.
aeromechanics, a lot of areas I'm not familiar with, a lot of technologies I do not know a whole lot about. And a very large group, so you really can't build a relationship with each individual as you've done before. You can be part of the technology like I did before. So it was kind of, what worked before does not work anymore.
Right.
And I was working with people with different styles, with different goals and passion. And so it was a time of adjustment for me.
Right.
Your dad at that time, he sent me to a executive leadership class at MIT, Sloan School of Business, for about a week. It was really good for me. It reinforced a lot of beliefs that I have, a lot of styles. I had a lot of good things that was talked about, so that was good. But I also learned how to deal with different personalities, how to manage different styles. So my leadership style changed from that of leading by example to more of coaching, mentoring,
Right.
empowering, and also, in a lot of ways, reinforcing company core values and core beliefs.
Yeah. Really going from managing to leading, right? I think
Yes.
that's kind of a progression as you move up. So.
Yeah. Now, for the last 4 or 5 years, my leadership style kind of changed again. It kind of became more authentic, if you know what I mean. It became more about my real values and beliefs. which were there in the beginning, but were changed through the years and ingrained with a company called Beliefs and Values. So it's kind of easy for me, and I actually enjoyed that working with people. And I think hopefully I made some impact on people the last 4 or 5 years. You didn't have to think about it.
Right. Yeah. So like we talked about, this is kind of a special interview because this is one of your last interviews before your retirement in a couple of weeks. There's one final message you had to share with the company. What would you want that to be?
Well, that's a hard one. Sometimes I get emotional about these things.
Yeah.
I'm really thankful for the career that I had, for the programs I worked on, for the impact I had, no matter how small they are on people, especially people that worked for me, the people that I managed. I grew up in Lebanon, in a small town in the Lebanese mountains.
Right.
For a family of farming background.
Yep.
My dad was a man of influence. He had a lot of relationships with judges, with lawyers, with politicians, but he was illiterate.
Uh-huh.
So he placed a lot of value on education.
Uh-huh.
So he always sent us to good schools and all of that. So I had dreams of having a significant and meaningful career. Those dreams kind of, took a hit during the Lebanese Civil War between 75 and 79.
Yeah.
Early in my childhood, I dreamed of being a movie director or a doctor, which is really the aspiration of my mom and dad.
Right.
Actually, one of my cousins who I used to hang out with quite a bit became a movie director.
Okay.
And he's one of the biggest movie directors in Lebanon.
Okay.
When I was going through middle school, in one of the science classes, we watched the lunar landing on a small, grainy TV screen. Yes, very small. I was awed by that giant feat, and I was so impressed by the people who worked on it. So I started thinking about engineering at that time. But I never dared to dream that one day I would work for NASA on programs like Space Shuttle,
right?
Constellation, human landing system, space launch system, and leading teams that have provided a critical technology, impressive people to NASA mission and programs, just like the team that we have at NASA Marshall now.
Yeah.
So I never dreamed of that. So I'm really thankful. Thankful for the opportunity to work with your mom and dad, with Andre, people like Peter Lever, HQI, serving these missions and the programs.
Yeah.
From the early years that cutting my teeth on writing code for CFD Ace and CFD Fast for NASA Marshall, to developing technology for the cruise stage systems, to leading the aeromechanics branch and Aerospace and Defense division for the last 15 years, to working with you and the CFD teams, going through that explosive growth the last few years.
Yeah.
The growth that has eluded us, as you know, since 2004 for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And finally took place. So I'm thankful. I thank the Lord for giving me the opportunity to be part of that. And I leave this place with nothing but hope for the future.
Right.
For the future of this company.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed by the growth that you have made for the last several years.
We have made.
But especially you personally as a leader, for the leadership that you put together. And I think the future looks bright.
Yeah.
So I walk away from here hopeful, be keeping an eye on the company, of course, and I hope I will be contributing in some way or another.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. You talked about your cousin being a movie director, and you're watching that clip of the lunar landing in '69. But now you can say that you've been helping direct the land. We're trying to fly to Challenger. They're trying to fly to Columbia, the Artemis 1 launch.
Yes.
So you're
Absolutely
playing your own role in that.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And it makes a lot of impact on the people where I come from. They know I had those aspirations, and when I go back and I have those conversations, these conversations let they want to know about these programs and how I supported these programs. And so it's been very meaningful and rewarding.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, I know you talked earlier in the interview about your evolving leadership style, and I really just want to, compliment you and thank you. I know when you started, you had relatively small teams, and like you mentioned, it was all focused on aeromechanics and your technical discipline. In 2008, we put a lot of different technologies and teams under you, and when I took over in 2016, we made a lot of changes in the way we want to manage things and lead things, and I appreciate you sticking with us and being able to evolve, which is very difficult to evolve your style and as the company's growing and changing. So
absolutely, and thank you for giving me the opportunity since 2016 by expanding the Aerospace and Defense division. It's been really great and rewarding for me. Working with people like Justin, who I think will be a great leader for Aerospace and Defense division going forward.
Yeah.
I think I leave it in very good hands. Yeah. Working with people, like Andrew and Conrad and Vinod and many others.
Yeah.
There are great leaders in the ADS division.
Right.
And the company as a whole, I think we are set up for a very bright future.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us for this edition of Getting Gear with Samir.